Hey everyone, so I have been testing out a lot of drugstore and affordable products lately, so I wanted to do a roundup video and let you guys know which ones are the best, which ones are the worst. Some of these are fairly new, and then some maybe came out a month or two ago. I did do a couple of videos where I tried them on for the first time on camera and did like a first impression, so I wanted to come back and let you guys know my full review now that I've had the chance to test everything out really thoroughly. I have a lot of products, so I think I'll review everything by brand, and I'll put timestamps in the description box below if you guys want to jump ahead or skip over certain products. So let's kick it off with the new E.L.F. Jen Atkin Collection. So let's start with the two palettes in the collection. Now these are eye and cheek palettes. Each one comes with 4 eyeshadows, 3 cheek products. The palettes as a whole are completely matte except for the highlighter shade. And I was actually really impressed by the quality of these palettes. First of all, they feel a little bit more expensive than E.L.F.'s normal products. A lot of E.L.F.'s packaging is a little bit more flimsy and it does tend to break or crack if you are going to drop it. These feel more substantial, so I did want to point that out. I know packaging doesn't matter to everyone, but I do feel like they kind of stepped it up with these palettes. So there is a light to medium palette and then a medium to deep palette. I would have liked to see at least one more palette. I think 3 palettes when it comes to all-inclusive face palettes is probably the bare minimum, because when I look at these, they do look pretty similar. There aren't super substantial differences between the cheek products. The eyeshadows are a little bit different, but overall, I'm someone who would probably reach for the light to medium palette more often, and I can still use the deeper one on my face and my eyes. So I think they could have gone darker with the medium to deep palette or added in one more that was even darker than this one, because like I said, the cheek products really don't go that deep. They're pretty pigmented, so you can build them up to some extent, but I just wanted to point that out. As far as the actual formula, I think that this formula is definitely different than other formulas I've seen from E.L.F. I would say the eyeshadows are extremely blendable. I'm wearing them on my eyes today. I kind of mixed and matched both palettes for my eye look, but they're very rich, very blendable, smooth, just easy to work with. And if I was doing a lot of traveling right now, this would absolutely be like my go-to travel palette, because I'm just really impressed by the actual quality. The cheek products are very blendable and so smooth. They don't really feel like a lot of other E.L.F. cheek products that I've tried. If I had to pick a formula to compare them to, I would say they're probably most similar to the primer infused bronzers and blushes. The highlighter is so silky and smooth. It really looks very skin-like, and that's not something I've necessarily experienced from a lot of the other E.L.F. highlighters that I've tried. So I do think they put maybe a little bit of extra effort into these palettes, because they feel quite a few steps up from other E.L.F. eye and cheek products that I've tried, and I am a fan of other E.L.F. eye and cheek palettes, but I think that this is their best formula by far. So I'm curious to see if they're going to use it again in future collections. I did not expect to like this next product at all. In fact, I wasn't even going to try them because I don't typically like wooden pencil eyeliners. I find that they're a little bit more dry and scratchy, and I just feel like they're not ideal for my eyes. But these are completely different. These are so creamy and so smooth. It just glides on so easily. These smudge out so well, and they're just very creamy, very easy to work with. They feel like high-end liners. My favorite eyeliners for like smudging on the lower lash line would be the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencils, but I think I like these better, and these are $6. Now, obviously, they only have a brown and a black, but if you tend to wear neutrals or you do like more of a smudgy pencil, I do recommend picking these up. I didn't have any issue with them bleeding or smudging or moving around once I applied them. They did stay in place pretty well, so I'm really impressed by these. Let me share a product from the collection that did not work for me that I just don't recommend trying. This is the Hair and Brow Pomade. It's basically a clear brow gel. Now, there are a few issues with this product that just make it not a great option, and E.L.F. actually has a clear brow gel, or I think they market it as a clear mascara that's a lot better than this one. So first of all, the formulas are a little bit similar. It feels very similar to their other one. It doesn't necessarily dry down. It's more of a wet formula. So if you do like more of a wet brow gel, you might enjoy this one. I personally like something that dries down, like the E.L.F. Wow Brow Gel, so this isn't something that I enjoy because it doesn't do anything for my sparse brows. But the main issue that I have with this product is the wand. This is a very unique brush for a brow gel. I've never seen anything like this. It's basically like a flexible plastic wand, and if you have sparse brows like I do, it's probably not going to grab onto your actual hair. If you have really thick, voluminous brows that are hard to tame, you might actually like this brush, but I don't think the gel will do anything for you. I think you'll need something a little bit stronger. So overall, I just find this product to be a fail because the gel doesn't hold my brows into place and the brush doesn't actually comb through my brows. The only way that I've been using it is as kind of like a hair pomade. It is marketed as a brow and hair pomade, so you can kind of use it to comb through your flyaways, which is really nice because I do wear my hair in a messy bun all the time. I don't usually do that on camera just because when I sit down to film, I usually do my hair and makeup, but I do tend to deal with like a lot of flyaways around my face. So this is nice to just kind of comb them into place. So I've been using it for that reason, but I wouldn't recommend picking it up as a brow gel. I do really like the lip duos that are part of the collection. And again, I didn't really expect to like these as much as I do, but they're just very, very convenient. So there is a nude. This is the one that I have on my lips today. There's also a pink and then a red. So these are dual-ended lip products. You get a lip liner and then also a matte lipstick. The lip liners are nice. They're not overly creamy, but they do apply well. I would say the formula is maybe somewhat similar to the ColourPop lip liners if you've tried those. And then the lipsticks are definitely matte lipsticks. They do feel a little bit dry as you apply them and they kind of drag on the lips. So typically when I wear them, I do apply lip gloss on top. I do have a gloss on top that I'll talk about in a second, but they do stay in place pretty well, which is typically what I go for these days. So these are nice. They're just great on the go lip colors because you do have the lipstick and the matching lip liner, which I think is a nice touch. And the formula, again, just feels a little bit different than some of their other lipsticks. A lot of their lipsticks are very smooth and lightweight and they glide on well, but they don't necessarily stay in place as well. These do stay in place well, but you get a little bit more dryness to them. The last product in the collection is the Mist Me. So this is a lightweight hydrating facial mist. It does have a coconut scent. Does this have actual coconut in it? Let me check the ingredients. It does have coconut water and it also has coconut oil. So those ingredients can be sensitizing to the skin. So I just want to point that out in case you find that those do irritate your skin. This does have a really pleasant coconut scent. It's not going to linger, but it is there. So this looks really, really healthy on the skin. If you go in with a lot of mattifying products or if you just like a dewy finish in the end and you use this to finish your makeup, you're going to kind of get more of that skin-like appearance and it looks really glowy and healthy. I don't typically love that look because my skin gets there on its own within an hour or two, so I've been using it as a priming spray. The mist is perfect. It's like a very fine, soft mist, which is not the case for all e.l.f. products. It feels good, it smells good, but again, it does have coconut water and coconut oil in it, so I just want to point that out in case you tend to avoid those products. For me, it's not something I use all the time because I do tend to prefer more of a matte look overall, but if I do feel like my skin needs an extra dose of hydration before I apply makeup, this does come in handy. I wanted to share some Milani reviews for you guys. So I did a drugstore haul not too long ago. I picked up a bunch of products from Milani. A lot of them are a little bit older, so I didn't want to include them in this new drugstore video, but I will do a video on my favorite Milani products soon. I've been telling you guys that's coming, but I finally sat down and made a list of products that I'm so excited to share with you. So that should be up at some point during May. I can't believe May is next month already. I was sitting down to write out like my video schedule for May, and that is so crazy to me. So I promise that video will be coming in May. So one of my favorite products is not a brand new release, but it's still a little bit newer. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush. So I have the shade Your Peach, which is just a little bit too deep for me personally. I do prefer a little bit more of a subtle blush look overall, but I've been able to test out the formula. I actually wore this yesterday for probably like 12 hours just because I wanted to try it out one more time and see how long it would actually last. And I applied this blush on one side and then another blush on the other side. And at the end of the day, a lot of my makeup had worn off because I was wearing more of a light coverage foundation. But this blush stayed in place the entire time. This is the most long-lasting cream blush that I've ever tried. I've been trying out so many cream blush formulas, and this is without a doubt my favorite. So I definitely plan on picking up another shade or two, something that I would tend to reach for a little bit more often than this bright peach. It applies so perfectly whether you're using your fingers, a sponge, or a brush. It blends out really easily. It does dry down and it stays in place, but it has more of a luminous effect overall. So it just looks really healthy on the skin. Now, a Milani product that didn't work for me is the No Pore Zone Mattifying Primer. I do not recommend trying this if you have oily skin. I would stay far away from this. So this is more of like that silicone type feeling primer. So it's really smoothing on the skin. So if you do deal with really large pores, I think you would like this primer for that reason. I've been dealing with really large pores on this side of my nose in particular, but I can't use this because it just it causes my foundation to slip around and slide off and move around and settle so badly. If you have normal to dry skin and you don't mind more of a slippery or smooth primer, you might like this, and you might not have thought to try it because it is marketed as a mattifying primer, but this does not mattify the skin at all. My skin looks extremely oily within maybe 20 minutes of wearing this product, and again, it just causes my foundation to move around so quickly. So I don't recommend trying this if you have oily skin. It was a complete fail for me. Milani also released some eye and cheek palettes. These are their all-inclusive palettes, so they did come out with a lighter one and then a deeper one as well. I don't have the deeper one to share with you guys. I wish that I had purchased it just so I could swatch it for you and compare them, but I do have the lighter one. Now, each of the palettes comes with 4 cheek products and then 3 eye products. I did use this palette to create like a quick and simple look. If you want to check out that video, I'll link it in the description box below, but that way you can see how the products actually perform. So the cheek products are pretty pigmented, which I was surprised because I initially went in with the eye products and those take a ton of building. So if you like very subtle shadows, I think you'll enjoy these. They do blend out really easily. They are super powdery, but they do look a little bit more, I guess, natural on the eyes. The cheek products are kind of the opposite. They're pretty intense as soon as you dip your brush in. Even though I do prefer really rich pigmented shadows, I usually prefer more subtle cheek products. But I think that it's nice because you can go in with a light layer and kind of sheer them out or build them up. So I do think they are a little bit more adaptable than the eyeshadows. And I really didn't have any complaints about the cheek products. I think they looked really nice on the skin. And again, if I was traveling, this is probably something I would throw in my bag and bring with me if I did want more of like that pink spring summery look. If I'm comparing the E.L.F. palette and the Milani palette, they're pretty similar in terms of size. The Milani palette comes in cardboard packaging and there is a mirror, and the E.L.F. palette comes in plastic clear packaging. The E.L.F. palette does come with significantly more product. There's a lot of wasted space in the Milani palette. You get 18 grams of product in the E.L.F. palette, and then you get about 8, 9, 10, about 11 grams in the Milani palette. As far as the color stories, the E.L.F. palette is definitely more of like a traditional neutral palette, and the only shimmer in the E.L.F. palette is the highlighter, whereas you do get a highlighter in the Milani palette, a shimmer shadow, and then also a shimmery blush. So it just kind of comes down to which color story you prefer. I would say that the quality of the E.L.F. palette is significantly better than Milani. In my opinion, it's not as powdery, it's really blendable, a lot more pigmented, so that's what I would probably choose. But I do like the Milani palette for like quick and easy shimmery looks, which I do tend to prefer shimmer overall. So they both have their pros and cons. Okay, so let's talk about some products from Essence. I actually have a new foundation that I have been loving. I feel like it takes a lot for me to enjoy new foundations for some reason, but Essence did release their Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation, and I wear the shade 060 Neutral Honey. So this retails for $6.99, and it comes with 1 fluid ounce. Now, I would say this kind of feels like a tinted moisturizer. It has a little bit more coverage than the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer, which is my go-to, but it still feels very lightweight on the skin. It is more of a natural light to medium coverage, but it stays in place really well. Even though I have oily skin, I'm always drawn to hydrating foundations because of how they look and feel on the skin, and this one stays in place so well. I wore it the one day for 12 hours, and I was surprised by how well it actually held up on my skin. Now, you can build the coverage up if you do want more of a medium coverage look, or you can sheer it out, but I'm just really impressed by the actual quality of this product. I'm kind of curious to wear it side by side with the new Fenty Skin Tint because I do feel like initially when you apply them, they feel very similar on the skin, but I think that this one might actually wear better on oily skin. I'm still in the process of testing out the new Fenty Skin Tint, so I don't have like a fully formulated review in my mind, but this might be a good alternative. It's obviously a lot less expensive. Now, if you have really dry skin, you might need something a little bit more moisturizing because typically if products stay in place really well and hold up well on my oily skin, someone with dry skin might need something a little bit more intense. So I did want to point that out, but if you're looking for more of a light to medium coverage foundation for the summertime and you want one that stays in place pretty well, you might enjoy this. I'll use it in an upcoming Get Ready With Me so you can see how it actually applies applies and looks on the skin. Essence did release these new Juicy Bomb lip glosses. These are $1.99, so they're very, very affordable. And I do like these. I don't typically like lip gloss that comes in the tube style packaging because I find that it's a little bit sticky or hard to use, but these are really glossy, very shiny. I like to wear them on their own or on top of lipstick, and they just add the perfect amount of shine. They're not long-lasting lipsticks, but if you do want to add just the sheer gloss on top of any lip color, I think you'll like these. Now, these are very, very strongly scented, and they're kind of like the scent is based on the name. So Watermelon Crush smells like watermelon. Crazy Cherry smells like cherry. I love everything that smells like peaches or peach candy, but the peach lip gloss smells so bad. It smells like straight up chemicals. So I don't recommend the peach one. The other ones smell perfectly fine to me, but I did want to mention that they are pretty strongly scented if you do end up picking them up, but they look and feel really good on the lips and they're under $2. I have been testing out 2 new Essence mascaras. I do like Essence mascaras, and they have so many to choose from that it's kind of hard to keep up, but these were new when I initially started testing them out. The 24 Ever Defined Volume, and then also the 24 Ever Bold Volume. These both retail for $5.99, and they both stay in place well. They're pretty easy to remove, so I don't really have an issue with the actual formula. It just kind of comes down to the brushes. So let's start with the one that I don't really like. This one is the Defined Volume. The brush is just too big for me. It's just hard to apply. Whenever I use a mascara that has a brush like this, I always end up getting the mascara all over my eyelid without fail, and I just find that it's hard to build the mascara up on my lashes. It just doesn't layer well. There's no way that I can use this on my bottom lashes because, again, it just makes a big mess. So if you do like large wands, maybe you'll enjoy this one. I just don't find that it looks great on my lashes, and I have to sit there and layer it up over and over for like 4 or 5 coats before I even get any sort of semblance of volume. So for me, I don't like this one. I wouldn't recommend picking it up. They have other mascaras that are really good, and this one just didn't do it for me. But I did enjoy the 24 Ever Bold Volume. This one does have a plastic wand. I think that this one is really great at lifting and curling the lashes. So if you have very straight lashes and you need something that kind of lifts them and opens up your eyes, you really will enjoy this one. I have it on, but I have false lashes on, so that's not really going to make much of a difference for you as you're looking at me. But I did try out both of these mascaras in a Get Ready With Me, so I'll link that below if you want to see how they apply. This one is a little bit easier to build, and I like this one because it separates the lashes, but you still get a good amount of volume. I wouldn't say that I like it better than the Essence Lash Princess mascaras. Those are still my go-to, but if you want a mascara formula that stays in place a little bit better, you might prefer this one. Let's talk about a few products from Catrice. Again, I did include these products in try-on videos, so I'll link any related try-on videos in the description box below along with timestamps so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But this is the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. I have the shade 030 Neutral Sand, and I really like the texture of this foundation, and it just makes me happy that I've been able to find some really good, affordable foundations lately. Now, this one is more of a medium to full coverage foundation. It's pretty long wearing on the skin. It's supposed to be a hydrating formula that feels and looks a little bit more natural. Now, I would say that if you deal with a lot of texture on your skin, which sometimes I do, this might not be the most ideal formula for you. It's not necessarily the most smoothing formula. It does look a little bit more skin-like. It kind of like sets down on the skin in more of a natural way. But if you're dealing with breakouts or texture, I do feel like it's going to enhance that a little bit. So if you're looking for a really smoothing option, you might like the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation better than this one. I would also say, even though they market this one as a hydrating foundation, it has more of a satin finish, but I wouldn't necessarily call it super hydrating. In fact, I had a few of you guys comment on the video where I tried this out saying that you have dry skin and it's way too drying for you. So that is something to keep in mind. I would say that it kind of falls in the middle. It does have more of like a natural satin finish. It's not completely matte, but it's also not super hydrating. I do think that it is a nice option for everyday wear when I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, but I don't want something that looks super matte on the skin, and I just want something a little bit more skin-like because it does look like skin, but it has pretty good coverage. This is not a transfer-proof foundation. If you're going to be wearing a mask all day and you're going to take it off and put it back on for whatever reason, you're probably going to want to go with another formula. I don't know, this past year has shown me that I don't have a lot of true transfer-resistant foundations in my collection. What would you guys say is your most transfer resistant foundation? For me, I feel like I've just been reaching for more like natural finish foundations like the ColourPop foundation or the Essence one, because if I'm going to go out and wear a mask and I'm going to take it off for whatever reason and I want my makeup to still look good, I just want something a little bit more natural. So I've just been laying off like the full coverage foundations when I do go out and wear a mask. But you know, I mean, I feel like I also just skip foundation altogether because I just can't find anything that's like truly transfer resistant. Catrice also released 2 new blush boxes. So these are a little bit different than their other blush boxes. I think the other blush boxes are matte or they have like a slight sheen to them, but these are actually meant to be glowing, and then they are multicolored blushes. So there is a mix of colors within both of these. These are really pretty. They look really healthy and glowy on the skin. There is a lighter one and a deeper one. I would love to see them release even more shades. I think the formula is good because it is very blendable. You can build it up, but it doesn't look too glowy on the skin. Like, it's not over the top. It just gives you more of a natural sheen. So I have been enjoying both of these. And if you're looking for affordable powder blushes, if you're not into all of the cream blushes that have been coming out lately, you might enjoy these. I just have 2 products from NYX to share with you guys. So I did pick up one of their cream blushes because, again, I've been trying out all of the cream blush formulas. This is the Bare With Me Luminous Cheek Serum, and I have the shade Peach Bronze. Honestly, out of all of the cream blush formulas that I've tried, this is probably my least favorite. It has a little bit more of a thick gel type texture. So initially, I thought I would like it a lot because I thought it would compare to the Flower Beauty Blush Bombs, but those are a little bit more blendable and smooth and just easy to work with overall. When I apply this product to my cheek, it lifts all of the foundation underneath. It doesn't matter if I have a full coverage foundation on or if I have a tinted moisturizer. It's such a wet formula that as I blend it in, it's almost like I applied water to my face and I'm removing all of my makeup. So because I deal with redness and I have a lot of freckles, you'll see all of that under the blush, which I don't mind the freckles, but the redness is just not ideal for me. It doesn't really dry down, so it almost has like a sticky texture and it looks very patchy and uneven. It does have like a really pretty kind of luminous glow to it, but because it just looks patchy and uneven and it removes the foundation, it just looks like a mess. And when I tried this out like the second or third time, I was so annoyed because I had to remove all of my cheek makeup and do everything all over again. And for some reason, I went in with this product again and it just ruined it again. So I sat there and redid like my same cheek for 30 minutes, and I've just decided this is not the formula for me. I am wearing the NYX This Is Milky Gloss, so I have the shade Milk and Honey. There are a bunch of really pretty colors, and I just saw a TikTok last night of a girl lip swatching all of them, and they all looked so pretty on her. So now I am curious to try out some of the other ones, but I did put myself on a lip gloss no buy. This was actually the last lip gloss that I bought before I went on that no buy. So I have to wait, which is fine. I have other formulas that I like, but I like this because it's a very lightweight sheer lip gloss. I am wearing this today over the E.L.F. lipstick, and it just gives a really pretty sheen. It's worn off quite a bit because I have been sitting here and talking for like 40 minutes at this point, but it is a nice option if you want a glossy sheen, but you don't want a thick formula. A lot of lip glosses are heavy and thick, and if you're layering them on top of a liquid lipstick or a cream lipstick, it just feels like a lot. This feels really glossy and smooth. It kind of feels like the, what are those called? The NYX Butter Glosses, but it's better. It's like a sheer milky color. I just really like it. The formula is somewhat similar to the Tower 28 glosses, but again, a little bit thinner. I've just been enjoying it, and if I wasn't on a lip gloss no buy, I would totally pick up more of these. The last thing I wanted to review for you is the Makeup Revolution Ultimate Nudes Shadow Palette. I have the dark one. There is a light one and a medium one, but I decided to pick up dark because I liked the shades in here the best. It's a really pretty kind of like berry toned palette with some neutrals and puffs of purple as well. So the matte shadows in here are very blendable and so smooth. They're very easy to work with. If you tend to have trouble blending your eyeshadow, I think you'll like the matte shadow formula. The shimmer shadows, again, are so pretty. They're really creamy and smooth and gorgeous on the eyes. And overall, I'm really impressed by the quality. I think it's probably been years since I've picked up a Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palette. They have a ton of palettes, and I've been getting some recommendations lately to try out their formula again. I know they kind of do dupe palettes and dupe products. I don't typically buy them for that purpose, and I think some people have said that these are supposed to be dupes for Huda Beauty palettes. I don't know if that's true or which ones they match up with. I just picked it up because I thought the actual eyeshadow colors were pretty, and I do enjoy this. This palette is only $9, so if you're not looking to spend a ton of money on eyeshadow and you want something that's very easy to work with, very beginner friendly, I think you'll like this. Now I will say the eyeshadows are not quite as saturated as I thought they were going to be. This palette in particular looks super intense online, and then in person it looks a little bit different. So that is something to note. You have to build the shadows up quite a bit to get good pigmentation. The metallic shadows are a little bit more vibrant than the matte shadows, but again, if you do prefer more of a buildable formula, I think you'll appreciate that. You're just not going to get like super intense pigment right away. But after trying this, I would love to try out some of their other palettes and see what else they have to offer. This is probably one of the better, really affordable formulas that I've tried, and I do enjoy using this one a lot. So that is everything that I have for you guys today. I hope today's video was helpful if you were considering any of these products. If you guys have any drugstore recommendations, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. But otherwise, I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.